Jury have only heard Jeff's version of events so far, but today it's our turn. I'm going to do my absolute best to get her off, I swear.
I know you will. Just wish Elaine hadn't backed out. I mean, what chance has she got without her?
Well, we still have Sally and Kathy's testimony. Look, I need you to be strong when you're in that witness box. Not giving up before you've even started, okay?
Okay. I'll go get ready.
All right, I'll see you in court.
Yeah.
So Jasmine on straight away?
Well, we have a few more witnesses for the prosecution, but then, yeah, she's up.
How do you think she'll do?
Honestly, mate, I'm breaking it. Maybe don't tell Elliot that, though.
Yeah.
Oh, I should have decorated the gardens myself. I don't know what I was thinking asking Tracy to do it.
It'll be fine. She knows exactly what you want.
Yeah, and Steve would have been useless. I swear, if he doesn't show up today...
He will.
Well, I wish I had your confidence. Si, you're going to get in the shower. Are you going to hold us up?
Yeah, sorry. Why don't you take a nap? You've been up half the
Oh,
night.
and you really think I'm going to sleep today of all days?
But you have to try, Lee. Otherwise, you're going to wear yourself out before it's even started.
All right, I'll try and have a lie down for a bit. But if anything goes wrong...
We'll come and get you. But it won't, don't worry.
Sorry for snapping.
No problem. I think she's going to be okay today.
Yeah. Us Battersby's are tougher than we look. It's afterwards when it'll really hit her.
So what time's your meeting?
12:30.
What meeting?
Oh, they're putting a case together against Ray so they can put it to the council.
Well, fingers crossed Ray doesn't get to hear about it, because you know what he's like.
Bring it on. I'm not scared of him.
Ain't got guts, my girl.
Please read the affirmation from the card.
I do solemnly, sincerely, and truly declare and affirm that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Hey, all set up?
Yeah, looks lovely.
Good. Oh, and we even got those little windmills, so Leanne will be pleased.
What?
She only went and nicked him out of someone's garden.
Oh, so what? Look, we traipsed all over Weatherfield. There weren't any. They won't notice. There was too many gnomes.
And it is for a good cause.
I suppose.
Oh, by the way, Nana Liz rang. She was asking us what time we landed in Spain tomorrow, but I couldn't remember, so I just said that you'd ring her later.
Oh, well, why couldn't your dad tell her?
Well, he's not in. He went out.
He went out? Where?
Can I help you?
Oh, no, I was just,
That's my son in there.
Look, the thing is, this used to be my son's room.
Oh, right.
We spent a lot of time here, so I was just... I'm sorry.
No. See, you've been through it too, then, all this.
Here I have.
You don't realise, do you? You take it all for granted and then... You know, I used to think I'd give anything for a bit of peace and quiet. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I can. I was guilty of it as well.
So... How's your son doing now?
He's getting there, you know.
Well, that's good. They say it's a great hospital.
It is. Yeah, it is.
I guess you've just got to keep the faith, eh?
Yeah. Listen, I better get going. Good luck with it all, yeah?
Yeah. You too.
Your husband claims that you were an alcoholic. Is that true?
No. I enjoy the occasional drink. That's all. But to please Jeff, I stopped drinking altogether.
I see. Could you talk me through the events of the night of January the 31st?
I told him I didn't think I was an alcoholic. So he made me drink a glass of wine, even though I didn't want it. And then another, and another. In the end, I said I was wrong, that I did have a problem. It was the only way I could get him to stop.
On the night of the alleged attack, your husband says that you were about to have a drink and that he tried to stop you. Is that correct?
No.
Were there any other preferences your husband had, apart from you staying in and not drinking?
Oh, yes. I used to get confused. There were so many rules. He'd like the house to be clean, so he used to make little crosses in different places just to make sure that I didn't miss anywhere. He'd give me a small amount of money each week, and I had to get all the shopping with that. He took all my bank cards off me, you see. Oh, yes, I was scared all the time. Constantly treading on eggshells, trying to keep him in a good mood.
Why? What would happen when he was in a bad mood? When he got angry?
He'd shout or sulk. Maybe lock me in the house. Or stop me from doing something I liked. Even try to make me do something I didn't like. He even killed my favorite chicken. And he watched me eat her. Before telling me what it was. And even when he wasn't angry, he'd undermine everything I did just to make me feel worthless.
Did you ever feel physically threatened by your husband?
Oh, yes. When he shouted at me, he'd get right in my face. He'd look like he wanted to hit me, and I started to feel that one day he would. In fact, he once told me that he'd rather see me dead than with anyone else. That's why I always backed down. I tried to placate him.
Were there any moments where you felt particularly at risk?
Yes.
Could you give us an example?
When he locked me in the box. His magician's box. After a while, I realized he wasn't there. I couldn't breathe. I tried to get out. And that's when I realized he'd locked it.
Right, so just to be clear, he, knowing that you were claustrophobic, locked you in this box and then just went out?
Yes. And it was only when my son-in-law arrived back and heard me that I was able to get out. That was when I really started to be scared of Jeff.
Thank you. Now, I would like to show the court some video footage taken on the night before this incident of Mr. Metcalfe's mobile phone. And I would like the court to recall, whilst watching it, Mr. Metcalfe's claim that he was not an abusive husband.
You don't want to be? Look at the camera. Smile! I'm a professional, Yasmin. I kept going. Emma wouldn't have got me into that mess. And she'd have looked a sight better in that outfit, too. Don't turn away from me while I'm filming you. And she wouldn't have worn it with a fleece either. Dear, oh dear, what a state. Was he like this on the internet? For everyone to laugh at?
On the 1st of April, you rang the police for information on your husband under Clare's law. Is that correct?
Yes.
For the benefit of the jury, Clare's law is the Domestic Violence Disclosure Scheme. Under the scheme, potential victims can ask the police for information on someone in relation to previous domestic abuse offences. And did the police have any information on Mr. Metcalfe?
Yes. An ex-girlfriend had made complaints against him some years back, but the charges had been dropped due to insufficient evidence. Still, they must have thought it relevant, otherwise they wouldn't have told me.
Mrs. Metcalfe, whilst you were living with Mr. Metcalfe, did you feel like you might be the victim of domestic abuse?
Well, at first, no. But later, yes, I began to feel that, which is why I contacted the police.
And did you still feel that way on the night of the alleged attack?
No. I didn't feel I might have been. I suddenly realized that I was.
Could you talk us through the events of that day, the day of the alleged attack?
Sally, our daughter-in-law, had invited us to the local bistro opening. Jeff wasn't happy with what I was wearing. So he made me put on this dress. When we got back from the pub, he was in a bad mood. So he locked me in the house while he went and got some fish and chips. He knew I was starving. I hadn't eaten all day, but he just got some for himself to punish me.
And what happened next?
He got the bread knife and cut himself some bread. Then...
Take your time.
Then he started to make fun of me in the dress. That was when he told me he hadn't bought it for me, he'd bought it for another woman. I presume one of his escorts.
And how did you react to that?
I wasn't angry. I'd already guessed he'd used an escort, even though he tried to deny it. I was just upset that things had come to this. I took his arm. I tried to plead with him, but he stepped back, and I lost my balance, and I fell. So did his dinner, which of course made him even angrier. So I started to pick everything up.
And what did your husband do meanwhile?
He stood there shouting at me, telling me I was pathetic. I was like a dog. Then he started to throw chips at me and telling me to fetch. He got more and more angry. He said it was not just one escort, it was lots. And that I had driven him to it.
And where was the bread knife at this point?
He was holding it.
And where were you both?
By this time, I was standing with my back against the worktop. He was facing me, quite close.
So would it have been possible for you to get away from him?
No, I would have had to have gone past him. And I was scared of the knife.
So what happened next?
He was shouting at me. He said, I made his skin crawl. He couldn't bear being married to me. Then he suddenly lunged at me with the knife. I was terrified. I thought, this is it, he's going to stab me. He said, I should kill you, do the world a favor, something like that. And that is when I grabbed the nearest thing, the wine bottle, and I swung it at him. He was still standing there staring at me. And I panicked. Because I thought, this is it. He's going to be really mad now, and he's going to stab me. And that is when I must have struck out at him again. I don't remember. I just remember him falling, and the blood, and when I looked, there was a broken wine bottle in my hand.
Sorry we're late.
He's been doing some research and he's found out something really interesting.
As you know, I have been looking into the history of the old brewery, and I've come across this reference which seems to suggest that the local suffragettes used to have their meetings there.
And that Mrs. P may have given a talk there.
Where's Mrs. P?
Emmeline Pankhurst.
As I say, it is only a reference, but if we could find some evidence to back it up...
We could get the brewery listed as a building of historical interest.
Exactly.
Well, what's the point of that if it's going to get knocked down?
The point is, if it's listed, then it can't be knocked down.
Mrs. Metcalfe, you claim that you weren't an alcoholic, yet you attended an alcoholics meeting.
Yes, because, Jeff had convinced me I had a problem, but I hadn't.
Of course, it's common knowledge that alcoholics often go through a period of denial, isn't it?
Well, yes, but...
You also recounted an incident whereby he deliberately locked you in his magician's box. How do you know he did?
It was obvious.
Oh, so you had X-ray vision. You saw him actually do it.
No, of course not.
Then how can you be sure? Did he say he had?
No.
What did he say?
That the catch had slipped accidentally.
In fact, that's what he told his son when he returned. And you agreed it had all been an accident, didn't you?
Only because
Didn't you?
Yes.
We also watched some footage of Mr. Metcalfe shouting at you. It wasn't a pretty sight. Have you ever lost your temper, Mrs. Metcalfe?
Sometimes.
So have I. Unfortunately, we're all capable of it. It's unpleasant, but it's not of itself a crime, is it?
No.
Now, you told the court that you'd asked for information on Mr. Metcalfe under Clare's law. My learned colleague here used this to demonstrate how you must have felt you were being abused. But actually, wasn't it your granddaughter who first approached the police, not you?
Yes.
She didn't like Mr. Metcalfe, did she? In fact, right from the start, she didn't even want him working at the restaurant. She especially wasn't happy that you'd given shares in the business to him.
No.
Isn't that true?
It wasn't about
Is that true? Yes or no?
Yes.
Hi. Everything look okay?
Yeah, it's perfect, thank you. So where is he?
See, there he is. Why haven't you got changed?
I'll explain in a bit. Sorry I'm late. I was wondering whether we could have a quick word before we start.
Yeah?
I really want to carry on fundraising for kids and parents that have gone through what we've gone through. I just wanted to check with you that you're all right with that.
Yeah, fine.
You can get involved if you want.
I don't know, I can't think past today, to be honest.
Yeah, of course. Well, if you do.
Hey, I think we should make a start. If you're ready. Okay.
Is that... What's he doing here?
I don't know.
I'm sorry, Billy.
It's good to see you, but I don't think it's appropriate. What I mean is that
What's going on?
Sam wants to come to the funeral.
This is down to Natasha, innit? She's doing this on purpose.
Mum doesn't know I'm here. I came myself because I want to say goodbye to my brother.
Yeah, well, he's not your brother, and you've no right to be here. Today's about Oliver, not him.
Coming to the night of the alleged attack, you said you heard your husband say, "I should kill you." You then added it was something like that. So you're not sure that's what he said?
I'm fairly sure.
Either you're sure or unsure, Mrs. Metcalfe. Which is it?
Unsure, I suppose.
Now to the knife. You say he was waving it about. Did Mr. Metcalfe have the knife in his hand when you attacked him?
Yes. He had it in his hand as he came toward me.
And that's why you were scared he was going to kill you?
Yes.
Mr. Metcalfe, on the other hand, has stated that he put the knife down before you attacked him. Now, both the medical experts and the police have agreed that Mr. Metcalfe was found lying 2 meters away from where you said you were standing with him in the kitchen. Would you say that was about right?
Probably.
They've also stated that the knife was found not by his hand or near where he'd fallen, but on the kitchen worktop, just under 2 meters from where he was lying. Would you agree that's quite a long distance away?
I suppose.
And that it's therefore possible that he had, as he stated, already put the knife down, that he wasn't actually holding it when you attacked him.
But I was so sure
Would
that
you agree that's possible?
I suppose it is possible, yes.
Thank you. No further questions.
Coronation Street continues in half an hour.